What's up guys, it's Cher talking, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'll be making a full review for the Romancing Festival Victor banner that brings Victor as debuffer, Cat as a party support that relies on evasion, Hector an overdrive / damage dealer, Emeral fire support, damage dealer and also good for remembrance, and Coppelia, a counter for MRs. We'll be starting with Victor. This guy has 120% SGR, 107% endurance, and 106% will. He doesn't have very high intelligence, just 92%, even though he's a debuffer. Agility is just 96, could have been much higher as well. Moving on, and start off a turn, he will be buffing all of his status by 15% to try to make him faster and also has higher intelligence to debuff. Then, when activating either Sweeping Sword or Mind Ice Blade, he will chase with Flowing Slash on rank 1. And he will have a 50% chance to chase with Dark Flowing Slash. This is his kit. Well, first, what is Sweeping Sword or Mind Ice Blade? First or second skill? First skill is free attack with deep power that has a chance to debuff the STR based on his own intelligence by 15%. Okay, in this case, he will always be chasing Flowing Slash. That will then debuff STR by another 15% because it's medium, but it's rank 1. So, a total of 30% STR debuff. And he then has a very high chance to debuff STR by 25%. So, it's either 30% or then 55% STR debuff when using Sweeping Sword. The good thing is that you're not using PP here. The second skill is something that you can only use once. And it has a single target, deep power, slash, and grants him an evasion for a whole turn that only evades one hit. But there's also defense up that decreases damage taken by 15% for the whole fight. This is something that you want to use on start, and then even then on start you can debuff the STR of the enemy by at least 15%, but sometimes even 40%. And after that he will try to cycle his skill 1 or skill 3, Dual Flowing Slash. That will then activate Flowing Slash Plus. That can debuff up to 20% because this can reach rank 99. And then Dark Flowing Slash, that can debuff up to 30%. 50% debuff by using skill number 3, that costs 12 BP, a lot. Or, for free, you can debuff either 30% or 55%. Okay, so the bad part is skill number 3 does not have a chase. If you're using it, it's already 2 skills at 1, and you should ignore all of this. This guy is only debuffing STR, while we just have James. James can debuff STR by at least 45% with his skill number 3, can chase on overdrive, and he still chases with Sword Chain that can debuff intelligence by at least 30%. So, as you can see, it's just an inferior version of James overall. But let's go back to this guy because there's a little more to him. And he has 20% damage attack and then 40% for a total of 60%. He then has 2 damage reduction passives, one with 25%, the other one with 30%, and starts the fight with 12 BP, so that he can actually start with skill number 3. He does not generate PP with other stuff, just via this other part of the passive. When you are using either Flowing Slash or Dark Flowing Slash, you're going to give him a heat up that increases his Flowing Slash damage, and a heat up that increases Dark Flowing Slash damage. It will increase the damage by 30% for each of it. Can trigger 15 times per battle, and then he will recover 2 BP. Okay, so how does this exactly work? If you are using skill number 3, you are now actually recovering 3 BP by the end of a turn, and then another 4 because of each hit that comes from Dual Flowing Slash. So that equals 7, meaning that he can actually use Dual Flowing Slash and then Sweeping Sword and then go back to Dual Flowing Slash. When he's using Sweeping Sword, he is still going to chase with at least Flowing Slash, so that will guarantee at least 5 BP in this turn. So, you can see 5 plus 7 means 12. A perfect cycle of cycling skill 3 and skill 1. But still, it's just STR debuff, and in many boss fights, we need to debuff at least 2 status. Debuffing just STR means that the enemy is only using skills based on STR, and that hardly happens if ever. It's pretty tanky, but, well, a character does not give anything else to the party, doesn't really help much. So I just talked about James being a much better debuffer, but it's not just James. There's also Shiel, that can debuff multiple status. There is also Paulus, that can debuff multiple status, and even many others like Orlette, and like even Queen. So I believe this guy is really, really bad. He is the character from the banner, but in the end, he is not that great. I will give him only a 3 out of 5 in my new rating system. The next one is Cat, and she has 130% agility and 102% STR. Those are okay values. STR could have been higher because Emart's skills are based on both. She has just 85% endurance, that's kind of low, but she has a gimmick to not take much damage, and 101% will, with 105% intelligence because she can debuff. Moving on, she starts the fight with 12 BP, and on start of a turn, she casts herself Stealth that has medium effect, lasts for 4 turns, so every new turn, she will have less chance of being attacked. She then also grants herself damage block for 1 time, meaning that the first hit does not do damage. She then also gives herself Conceal, that 50% chance to evade if everyone is alive in the party, and you want them to be alive. Okay, moving on, we have 20% damage increase, alongside 30 for a total of 50% only, and then she grants herself a defense up that decreases damage taken by 15%, triggers 5 times per battle. Now, when she attacks, she will always chase with Cat's Claw. That is a single target attack that's not much strong, it's just about deep power, but it covers 3 EP, so that she can get more. And then she has now a 50% chance to chase with 3-point strike. 3-point strike is also her skill number 2. This one can debuff 3 different status, STR, agility, and intelligence by 10% as a chase or 15% as a command if you level up to 99. It's just 8 power, not that strong. And then she has a 25% only chance to chase with double Doppelwave. This is the skill number 3. It's a single target attack with blunt and slash damage that hits 2 times with C power. Not that strong. And then has a 50% chance to grant her an evasion for 1 time, 1 turn with each hit. So she can actually get 2 evasions just by using this skill. See, 25% chance only, it's not really reliable. And she wants to get the evasion because there is something that will happen. If by the end of turn no damage is taken, then she grants all surviving allies this passive called Thief's Assistance 2 times. Thief Assistance 2 times on the next turn, after entering this stance, for everyone. After attacking, you activate this effect. Buff all your status by 15%, and then an attack and a defense boost. But they have large effect. Large effect defense boost is now only seen on the newest Empress. This decreases damage taken by 35%, lasts for 2 turns. And this can trigger 2 times, meaning that you can get 2 times on the same turn, and then 2 times again if you manage to trigger this stance once more for 4 max effects of the same large defense boost, alongside the large attack boost as well. But those are not that important. Defensive part of the stance is much better and more important in boss fights. But even when you consider the attack boost, it's 20% damage increase, and you can get as much as, well, 4 stacks. But, well, you still need to attack. You know that every new hit, you get the attack boost. So, it's interesting, but how can you guarantee that she will block or evade? It's more for fights where the enemy attacks single targets, because she can apply stealth, and she can still get the extra evasions from her skill number 3. And if you have enough PP batteries in your team, you're going to use this skill and then have another chance to carry another. So that's like 4 hits with 50% chance each of giving her an evasion. So you could have a very good RNG run here, but again, it's just 25% chance to trigger the chase. She still has the 3-point strike skill as a command that you can debuff STR, agility, and intelligence if you want her to be a debuffer, and then a 50% chance to trigger the chase. The total debuff here will still be 25% for all of these status, STR, agility, and intelligence. So bosses that have emergency skills and spells. I don't think that she's the best debuffer in the game right now because we have lots of debuffers, and for example, Paulus and James, some of the recent ones are very good. But if you want her because of that Chief's assistance that can trigger when she does not take damage. But it's extremely gimmick. Some people will use her for very interesting setups, but nonetheless, it's not mandatory. It's not someone that is easy to use. But in the right fights, she makes it that you won't die. You will just get more and more effects with a character that can just keep your party at big defenses. And as for inheritors, there's one interesting skill that you can get easily from premium banners that comes from her Christmas style. That is Wind Whistle. You can amplify that to become Wind Whistle plus a triple S power attack with 9 BP cost that can buff break. So she is very useful for Vampire Lady for new players. But nothing else is good enough because she already has what she needs to do. So Cat is nice, not a mandatory character, gimmick, and deserves a 4 out of 5, but very skippable. The next character is Hector, and he is a damage dealer, so 135% STR is nice, 101% endurance and 101% will means that he does not take much damage. Dexterity and agility are kinda low. So, we have lots of different effects here. First of them, we have 20% damage increase at all times, then 40% on combo, another 40% on overdrive, for a total of 80% when attacking on a combo inside on overdrive, and when attack damage is reduced by 30%. On overdrive, he gets even more damage, 50% increase. So his full potential is 150%. But then on start of a turn, he also gets his attack boost. That increases it by another 20. By the end of a turn, he gets as much as 35 points of OG Guard. Now, starts the fight with 12 BP, and when landing an attack, he will recover HP by very small, that should be around 300, then recovers 2 BP, and buffs on STR, Endurance, and Will by 15%. So he can actually become much tankier, but he only has 1 damage reduction without considering overdrive, because when he attacks on overdrive, he grants all surviving allies an attack boost that will increase their damage output by 20%, also a defense boost that decreases damage taken by 35, another large effect, but this one is just for 1 turn, so it's not really that good. Then he changes with Violent Dive. Violent Dive is this skill here that attacks between 3 to 4 times, random, slash, and blunt, but just E-power. It's pretty much a triple S or 4S power attack that you get for free, but no effects on the skill itself, you just get stuff by using an overdrive attack. So, moving on, this guy has a skill that he wants to use on the start. Call it Mercenary Spirit. He grants the user Mercenary Way. On the start of a turn, he will get another one of his first passive, as you can see here, Mercenary's Way. Nice. And you can use this 2 times per fight, meaning that instead of just getting this 20% attack boost, you can get as much as 60% attack boost. Instead of just getting 50% overdrive damage, you get as much as 150. So from this passive alone, you can get 210% damage increase. And you also get 105 points of OG Gotch, meaning that eventually every single turn Hector will be on overdrive, and he will take benefit of all of his passives. One that may not trigger is that if he's on overdrive alone, he'll not get the 40% damage increase that comes from this. Well, Hector will have 270% damage potential when on overdrive, but without anyone else in the combo, and 310% when together with other people. That is okay, not really stellar. The problem is that he doesn't have access to a very good skill. He has Aerial Rampage that has morale up very large, 40%. Damage increase, and a guard up very large that decreases damage taken by 50%. Both last for 2 turns. So you could theoretically just run skill number 3 and then skill number 1, Healing Blade. But you actually want to keep using Aerial Rampage so that the second usage will take benefit from the morale up very large. His chase attack on overdrive is really not that great. Violent dive is just 3 or 4 hits of E power, that still equals a 4S power attack generally, but it has no additional effect or anything. I believe that he needed additional chase that will happen all the times with something else, and the attack boost for the whole party is just 20%. The defense boost is nice, 35%, because it will eventually be casted every turn, since he can overdrive every turn. But his damage is not really that great. It is kind of lacking in my opinion, and considering that he is nuker, he does not have much else to do. But if you have inheritances, you can go to his school style and inherit Vandalize Plus. That hits 3 times with B power. It is much better than his chase on overdrive. And if you consider that you may not always have enough VP to use Morale up via aerial rampage, you are better off using Vandalize because the cost is just 10 instead of 12 and the output is much better. Or if you have his past style, you can just get Bloom Meditation as inheritance that gives him this over enhanced, increasing 30% overdrive damage, and also 3 stacks of defense up that decrease damage taken by 10%. But look, at this point you're gonna waste 5 turns with this guy just to get him ready, and his damage is not even that stellar. So really limited, a damage dealer that works. The only good thing is that defense boost on overdrive for the party that could help, but his damage is just not enough to kill our challenges. So in my opinion, he is just a standard unit and will receive a 3.5 in my new grading system. The next character will be Emeral. She has 80% endurance, 115% will, pretty okay, and agility and intelligence are on 126%. This agility is insane, very good, because she is a buffer. On the start of a fight, she grants all surviving allies this elemental attack blessings, heat defense boost, so that all your characters from the party that attacks with heat will then cast upon themselves a defense boost that decreases damage taken by 15% for 2 turns and stacks. If a character has multiple chase attacks, they can get many defense boosts. Sadly, this is not the same thing as we have now with the newest Empress, that allows people of her element, in this case Sun, to just cast a defense boost to the party and not to just themselves. So it's a weaker version, but it still works if your whole squad is based on heat attacks. But it may just protect only one character and not the whole party. Then on start of a turn, she will grant all surviving allies this elemental heat damage increase. That will increase heat damage output by 20% and trigger 3 times per battle for a total of 60%. She then grants all surviving allies enhanced sorcery. That will trigger 3 times per battle as well. This makes it so that all spells will have higher damage. It doesn't work with skills. So if you are using a mage squad, you can get as much as 120% damage increase if you are also using heat attacks. If not, just focus on one part, either mages or heat based. Then she increases her heat damage power by 20%. She has another 40% damage increase. Her final damage potential is 180% because she actually triggers everything for herself. She recovers 2 BP when attacking with heat attacks, reduces damage taken by 30% at all times, and if she resists, she decreases by another 25%. Skill number 1 is Floating Fire, a single target heat attack only that before attack grants all surviving allies this attack blessings. If you are using heat attacks, you then recover your HP by a very small effect. That should be around 300. And this skill is fast as well, costs 3 BP. It can be used to allow people to recover, but I don't think this is her main selling point. The second one can only be used once per battle, and it's something that you want to use on turn 1. Costs 9 BP, and it's an AoE attack with B power that before attacking grants the target this weak point heat defense down that is permanent, and then launches an all-range attack. When the enemy is hit by a heat attack, it will grant themselves a heat defense down. They will decrease their defenses by 25% for 2 turns and stack. So it's like Laceration, but without the RNG effect. This is also very similar to what you get with the current Khalid, but Khalid has to keep reapplying this. But it's very interesting because you don't have to rely on RNG. Khalid is nice because he can actually cast this by using skill tree 2 times, and then you can reach very high damage potential if using Kihachi. In the case of Kihachi, she has a 35% defense down, but also just 35% chance to trigger via laceration. So it is a good skill. We just need the right squads to use this together with Emeral. Then skill number 3 is a single target attack fast that hits between 2 to 4 times and grants all surviving allies this hit attack boost with each hit. It can reach as much as 25% hit damage increase. Well, you never know how many hits you get, but she is very fast, having 126 agility. Her skill 1 and her skill 3 are also fast, meaning that she will probably go before any other character, even if they have fast skills, to increase a little more of their damage output if you are using hit attacks. Very niche, specific to hit squads, but if you are also using someone like the latest Firebringer, and especially if you have Firebringer style 1 and style 2 to have all the best skills available, well, now you have an offensive and defensive build. But I don't know if it's so easy to build a full hit squad. I'm sure people will want to use Aspergal as one of the characters from the party because she's just so good. She can buff break, she can debuff all status, she can also apply defense boost, BP recover when attacked with spells. Erluge is another good one, but he's pure damage, but he's gonna get lots of effects from both Firebringer and Emerald. Other ones can be the newest Shroud, the newest Noel, the newest Apollo. All of them are strong hit damage dealers that can get a lot from a fire squad. Even Vagnus, if you like to use this character. Well, overall, the mechanic is nice. It's just hard to make squads that are full based on hit damage. And she's a staff user. For remembrance, her value is questionable because it will be impossible to make 5 mage squad with hit damage. And you can do something pretty interesting with her, that is to get self-immolation from her Platinum style, and then she enters this self-immolation stance, where if she gets directly hit, she's going to counter with B power. Well, she will be triggering her defense boost because of the passive, allowing her to work very similar to Galahad. Galahad can solo the Megalith Dragon Remembrance because he gets defense boost when attacking with cold attacks. His one is medium, is higher, and he can inherit that skill called Freeze Spike. It has the same damage, so she can actually allow you to solo after some turns using self-immolation. So if you are having difficulty with Megalith Dragon, you can get some good usage of Emerald because of self-immolation being free. If you don't mind RNG, there is another version of her that has access to wild fireballs that hits between 1 to 6 times, but just deep power. 6 times is a lot of damage, but it's too much RNG for my tastes. And she still has some debuff skills like Firestorm Plus and Tropical Fish, but I don't think people will use her for that. Emerald is a nice character, but also very limited and restricted into building a full fire squad. Without a full fire squad, I don't think you'll be using her a lot, or for Megalith Dragon, so I believe she only deserves a 3.5 out of 5, but maybe a 4 if you can build a full fire squad. The last character off the list is Coppelia, and she has 115% STR and 133% agility. Okay, values, agility is always the best one, endurance is 101% and will is 90%. You could have higher values because she's actually a tank. On the start of a turn, she grants herself this super extreme attack boost. It gives her a 60% damage increase for that turn, and also a very large defense boost that decreases damage taken by 50% as well. She gets 1 BP, and when being attacked, she also gets BP. She also self-buffs STR, endurance, and will by 20%, so it will increase her damage output, but I would prefer agility. They don't like to give you agility because they don't want you to evade, and she would take less damage. On start of turns, she always taunts as well with medium effect. For turns, it stacks, so she will be actually having high chance of being attacked. If she reaches 0 HP, she revives once with 50% of her HP. But there's something else. On every 3 turns, accounting from the start of battle, she will grant herself another attack boost. This time it lasts for 2 turns. It does have lower effect. It's just 50% this time. And lasts for 2 turns. So you have this effect on turn 3 and turn 4, but not on turn 5. But then back again on turn 6 and 7. Also, Emeral up very large, increasing damage potential by 40%. So just from this part alone, you're gonna get 90. And from this part, you get 60. So you can get as much as 150 from this part of her passive. She still has a 20% damage increase for a total of 170 max potential. Receives 30% damage reduction when attacked, and cleans from the humans by the end of turn. Okay, so it's nice that she gets BP when attacked because she wants to counter and use her skill number 3 or 2 as much as possible. Skill 1 is Roundhouse Kick. It's a 2 BP attack AoE deep power. Nothing special, you don't want to use it. The second one is the Revenge Standby. It is a single target attack with double S power that after attacking enters a defensive counter stance. It means you're gonna take damage. Lasts for 2 turns, so it means that you can actually use this one after another and counter 2 times, and you're gonna counter with Punishing Palm Plus. This is not a really strong attack, it is just B power, but it's AoE. If you need AoE counter, it could be helpful. And she buffs herself when being attacked, gets PP, and also will stop the Megalith Dragon via her counter. We don't have that many good counters for Emarts, but there are plenty of counters. So the good thing about her is skill number 3. Destruction Doll Rampage uses 45 LP. She starts with 99. Okay, so this attacks 4 times with C power, and then she's casting a Heat Up Medium that increases her damage potential by 10%, but 4 times means 40. She also gets a Defense Up that decreases damage taken by 5% 4 times, and then you can use it 2 times, meaning that you get as much as 80% Heat Up and 8 stacks of minus 5% damage. You're gonna have to use 10 BP, so use it as soon as possible, even before you can start countering. Or if you are on the Megalith Dragon, try to use it on turn 1 and then on turn 3. But there's one thing we didn't discuss yet. She loses 1 LP as recoil damage at the end of every 3 turns from the start of fight. Meaning that from turn 27 onwards, I believe she will only have 1 LP. But she does not die from that recoil damage. If she has only 1, it's 0. I don't think fights last for that long, but if she's just with 1 LP and dies, you still can revive once with 50% of HP. She was made still to be used versus multi-targets or the Megalith Dragon if you don't have any other options as a counter unit. I don't think that is really good countering with AoE B power. It won't change much. She does not give anything else to the party. She is a character that just gets stronger and better defensively as the fight goes on. Well, she does have some inheritance options, but they don't fit her new design, with the only one that is really useful being Pretty Hit that comes from one of her Platinum styles. Pretty Hit has Taunt. Instead of using Roundhouse Kick, use Pretty Hit to taunt more and have more chances of counter. She has Punishing Combo Plus. It's a fast skill with an AoE A power attack and then 2 hits of D power, but, well, this would be only useful if you are finishing up a fight. And the other skills from her most common styles uses LP and you don't want to use that. So she's a character that works by herself, does not need inheritance, but it's also extremely niche and not really a very good counter unit. I'll give her a 3 out of 5 in my new grading system. Now back to the banner image. Is this banner worth summoning for? Totally no. I'll give it a silver minus just because this banner has 5 units, but if it had 4, it would just be a bronze plus or something. The units here just don't have overlasting value besides Cat. She is nice because of her evasion and attack and defense boosts that trigger if she can block damage for 1 turn. Victor is a debuffer, but he loses to James and many other debuffers in the game. Hector is okay, but he is competing with many slash damage dealers that are much better than him. Emeral is a good character, still relies on having multiple other styles with hit damage to make it better. And Coppelia is just here for Megalith Dragon, but we'll have better options. Really, really limited. Overall, the banner will receive a Silver Minus award. I didn't pull, I will be gladly skipping because there are many better banners coming up. But are you a fan of the characters? If you are, well, you can summon. Do you agree with my opinion? If you don't, say here in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this, and if you want to support the channel, we have links on the description of the video. I hope to see you soon on the next one. Goodbye.